Welcome back. Providing the same level of protection with fewer people to do it. That is the difficult challenge facing Houston Fire Chief Sam Peña, a leader who sincerely wants the best possible pay and benefits for his first responders, but who also must play as best he can the cards he's dealt by city leaders. Absent some kind of settlement, that means keeping our city safe with 400 fewer firefighters now scheduled to be shed from his force. Chief, thanks for being here and taking the hot seat.
Thank you for having me, Greg.
Can it be done? Can you deliver the same level of service with this kind of impending drawdown?
Look, there's no doubt that this issue needs to be resolved. You're right. The effect it's having on personnel, on engagement, and ultimately on this level of service that we're providing to the community, it's having a bad effect, right? There is a path forward, Greg. We can get to the point where we're looking at efficiencies within the structure and redesigning how we're delivering emergency services, where we can deliver a same level of service, right, with fewer personnel, but not right away. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to right-size the organization. Now, 400 is going to have an effect. There is some capacity in there with a restructuring of the organization to absorb about 230 firefighters, right? Reduce the number of full-time equivalents, and still be able to deliver the same level of service. Anything above that, now we're looking at service drop. And the issue is that, look, I'm not going to support or recommend anything that's any change, any indiscriminate change that happens so fast that I can't analyze the impact it's going to have. And that's what will happen if we don't reach an agreement on phasing in these changes.
Chief, there's been talk of moving from 4 shifts to 3. If that happens with this kind of drawdown, will you be forced to shut down stations?
Look, if we move from 4 shifts to 3 shifts, Greg, like I mentioned, there is some capacity that we can get. We can absorb some full-time equivalents, some firefighter positions. And because we're redistributing that 4th shift, not completely, but just a large majority of those personnel are distributed amongst the other 3 shifts, we can still staff the exact same number of positions that we have now to a certain degree. But anything above 230 personnel, that is going to mean a less ability to staff daily apparatus.
So right now you're not planning on shutting down any stations?
Well, if we don't reach an agreement and I have to absorb $25 million of the $100 million that Prop B as obligators to pay, $25 million for us is 378 firefighters. If I have no capacity, if I can't expand that runway to be able to right-size the organization and make those structural changes, then it is going to mean a drop in the number of units that I can staff each day. It is. It's a matter of math. But as long as I have enough time, if you give me 3 years, Greg, I can put together a plan. Well, we have a plan, but just execute a plan to right-size the organization, and that doesn't cause any layoffs. We can absorb those positions through attrition. We get about 150 to 160 people attrit every year. So you give me enough time, and we can make those changes. We can absorb those positions that are unassigned, and we can right-size the organization without any layoffs. You're
saying pink slips don't have to go out. You don't have to fire firefighters if just given enough time.
Absolutely. If you give me enough time, if you give me 3 fiscal years, I can right-size the organization through attrition without pink slips.
Okay. If these layoff notices go out, we're talking about a lot of civil servants, and this is supposed to be a cost-saving deal. Is there big costs involved with letting go this many civil servants? And some people say it's not even legal. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I'm not going to speak about the legality of it. You know, we're doing what the city attorney's office is telling us we can do as far as the reduction in force and the HR department. But there is a cost associated with the payouts. You know, we pay out sick leaves balances and vacation balances. So there is a huge initial upfront cost to you know, dismissing personnel, especially this amount of personnel in 1 year.
Okay, on the shift reduction. Back in the early 90s, Houston went from 4 to 3 shifts, or 3 to 4 shifts in order to give minority firefighters an opportunity to gain promotion, and it worked. Well, going back to 3 shifts violate the agreement and land the city back in court?
What I've been told by the city legals department is that we are able to make those changes. The 4th shift, from the way it was explained to me, wasn't a result of any lawsuit. That was a workable plan to be able to absorb extra promoted positions, right? In the interim, there was also another lawsuit that adjusted the way promotions are done, in that it included an assessment center instead of just a written test. That was to address the disparate impact on minorities. That program will stay in place. Now, if you look at the demographics of our department, by right sizing, by going from 4 shifts to 3 shifts, the number of minorities is not impacted the way one is assuming, you know, the way the rhetoric is going. So yes, I think there's opportunities there. Just making those changes, just absorbing or reducing the number of overhead by 230 is a savings of about $15 million a year. And that's real savings that now, you know, we're looking at delivering the service that's more responsive to the demand that we're getting, which is EMS, right? But still delivering a comprehensive level of service, fire protection that this city needs.
One last question and
Right.
one word answer. Does this city have too many firefighters?
Well, look, if we're structured, if we change nothing, if we maintain status quo, then we need the number of firefighters that we have right now. But status quo, Greg, is not working. And this is not just my opinion. If we look at the state of our facilities, our state of our fleet, the lack of investment in professional development, the lack of investment in health and safety programs, those are things that are absolutely necessary to maintain a department. If we want to maintain 4,000, then we need to have enough funding to support 4,000. If I'm saying that we can do a change, then whatever we end up with, we need to be able to have enough money to invest in their development as well.
Chief Peña, glad to have you here.
Thank you.
I know you got a tough job. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay. When we come back, a new twist in the competition to break ground sooner rather than later on county flood protection projects funded by your local bond dollars. So stick around.